Hello and welcome back to Shakesyear. We are working on Sir Thomas Lord Cromwell, and we get to hear from Sir Christopher Hales today in what some versions call Act 3, Scene 1, what other versions are going to call Act 3, Scene 3. We're going to catch up by Act 4, so don't worry about that too much. But the things that have happened, the whole Bagot-Bannister thing seems to have been resolved, with Bagot getting arrested and Bannister inheriting all of his stuff, and Cromwell left Antwerp to rescue the Earl of Bedford, and they were successful in doing that with a simple swap of clothing. And he then decided that he needed to go off to Spain to have more adventures rather than go live in Mantua or do any of those sorts of things. So he has parted ways from the Earl of Bedford, and in yesterday's monologue from the chorus doing a prologue to Act 3, we learn that he traveled for quite a while before he ended up settled back in England again. So when he ended back up in England, he went to work for Sir Christopher Hales, who we are going to hear from today, kicking off Act 3, Scene 1, or Act 3, Scene 3. We are in Hales's house in like the banquet hall, and he comes in along with Cromwell and a couple of servants. And Hales says, "Come, sirs, be careful of your master's credit. And as our bounty now exceeds the figure of common entertainment, so do you, with looks as free as is your master's soul, give formal welcome to the thronged tables that shall receive the cardinal's followers and the attendants of the Lord Chancellor. But all my care, Cromwell, depends on thee. Thou art a man differing from vulgar form, and by how much thy spirit is ranked above these in rules of art, by so much it shines brighter. By travel, whose observance pleads his merit, in a most learned yet unaffecting spirit. Good Cromwell, cast an eye of fair regard about all my house, and what this ruder flesh through ignorance or wine do miscreate, salve thou with courtesy. If welcome want, full bowls and ample banquets will seem scant." So this is Hales preparing his crew for the party that's about to happen. He is saying, okay, everybody get stuff ready. We are about to entertain some of the most important people in the land, including Cardinal Wolsey, who, if you remember from the very beginning of the play, Cromwell was like, and Wolsey, the greatest man in the land, if he could come from nothing, I could come from nothing and make something of myself. So the Cardinal Wolsey is going to be coming over, and some of the attendants of the Lord Chancellor. So this is like super VIP dinner party that they're going to be throwing. So he's like, okay, everybody get ready for this. But then he turns to Cromwell and he's like, I'm really focused on you here. I need you to do well, and I need you to fix things that may go wrong this evening, because you are a true, pure spirit. You are unaffecting, but you are smart, you're kind. So however drunk and stupid the people get here tonight, just please be courteous to everybody, be kind to everybody, and kind of keep the waters calm throughout the party. So Cromwell is like, absolutely, of course. And he goes out, and the messenger's like, the guests have arrived. Guests come back in, and Cromwell comes back in shortly after. The guests are Cardinal Wolsey, Sir Thomas More, who we know plenty about, and Garnier. They come in, and they all start chatting amongst themselves about the differences between people from Spain and people from England, and some of their conversation, looking at it from a lens 400 years after it was written, is maybe a little bit offensive towards Spanish people, but this is how the learned English talked back then. So anyway, they're doing a bit of talking until Wolsey is like, "Oh, is that your servant over there?" And they're like, "Yeah, come on over, Cromwell." And he's like, "This is Thomas Cromwell. He's actually done a lot of traveling." So Cardinal Wolsey is like, "Ooh, tell me about your travels. Where you been? What's things like?" And Cromwell's like, "Well, obviously England is the best place." He's like, "France and Spain and Italy all have these kind of problems, and the Germans and the Dutch like to drink a lot, but England really is the best." And Wolsey is like, "I like the cut of your jib, young man." And then he turns to Hales, and he's like, can I hire him out from under you? And Hales is like, actually, I wanted to give you his resume and like have the two of you make a connection, but now I don't have to because you already have. So yes, please. So Wolsey turns to Cromwell and is like, you want to come work for me? And Cromwell's like, yes, that would be amazing. And Hales realizes, even at the beginning, that Cromwell is better fit for matters of the state as opposed to working in a private household. So this would be an opportunity for him to go and work for the state. Even though in the US in the 2000s, we separate church and state, back at this time, church and state were one and the same. So Cardinal Wolsey, a religious figure, hiring him does give him a position in the state. So Cromwell is like, yay, that would be great. And Hales is like, oh yes, I had hoped for such wonderful things for you. So they all go in to have their dinner and whatnot. But we know, following this dinner, that Cromwell is going to go with Wolsey and leave Hales behind and move on to the next chapter of his life, which historically speaking, may not have been the best choice. Anyway, come on back tomorrow for more. Mwah.